My name is Chad, and on this channel, we make stuff. Today's video is a continuation of the last video where we started this vacuum cart. Now this vacuum cart has a lot of features. It's not just a vacuum cart, but it's also a clamping table, which you can see here. It's in use as we speak with the clamps through the bench dog holes. But more about that later. We're going to go ahead and finish the construction of this right now. So now that we've got everything but the top assembled, we're going to go ahead and put on the first layer of the top. Right now what you're looking at is the bottom, so the underside of the bottom layer of our bench top. Bench top is going to have 2 layers, and we'll get into that next. But we're looking at the underside of the bottom layer, so I'm going to flip this over once we get ready to assemble it. Now we're going to assemble it with these handy dandy little fasteners here. This is a cam locking system, and this is, I don't know, I guess you just call it a bolt. It's going to go into the underside of the top, like so. It's going to screw in up to the bottom of the threads here, and it's going to have this much sticking out. And on the into the wall of our furniture, you're going to have a hole that's going to receive this. And inside of the wall, it's going to have this cam screw, which is going to go in something like right here. So when this is poking down into the wall, this is going to receive it right here. And we're going to turn it like this. And it's going to lock the top down to the rest of the furniture. Okay, it's time to switch gears over into the design and cutting of the rest of the bench top. Now we're going to be using CAD with Fusion 360 to design our parts, and then taking it over to the CNC machine like you see on the bottom left with the actual manufacture of these parts. It's going to be pretty simple. The bench top is just a bottom layer, which you've already seen me put on, and it's going to have 4 walls and the bench top. So we got to design the 4 walls and the bench top. The front and the back wall is what we see going on right here on this sketch. Now designing a part starts with a 2-dimensional sketch, and it's basically you set your parameters, your dimensions, all within the program like you see me doing here. And then of course in the bottom left is the demonstration of the cutting of that part in action. Okay, so we basically establish our parameters like I already said, and so the front and the back, and the sides too, but the front and the back are the long pieces. They're going to have 2 oblong access holes. We're going to establish those oblong access holes with these 2 pairs of circles. You go in, you set the dimensions of the circle, and then you set the distance or the dimension from the edges and from the centers, and both of your circles, both of your pairs of circles are going to be identical. So here you see me establish the distance from the end and now the distance from the center point. Okay, next we're going to go up and we're going to grab a line right now, grabbing the line tool, and then we're going to shoot from the tangents of each of these circles. If you hover your cursor over the arc at the right point, it's going to pop up that little symbol that says it's tangent. So you do the two lines on both sides of each circle, and then go down and do it again to this one. Okay, there is an operation where I could do this once and then mirror it about that center line, and you would have the exact same pattern, but I went ahead and did each pattern separately. This is a learning process. Now we're in the 3D space where we do the actual design of the part. It's pretty simple. You just grab the part of the sketch you want, and then you go up and you grab the extrude tool and you set the actual width of the extrusion. In this case, it's about 3/4 of an inch, which is the size of the wood that we're cutting into, the MDF rather. So there it is. That is the part. That's the front. Now we're just going to duplicate that, drag it over, and now I've got the front and the back. And after this, we would go and we establish our tool paths, and so we can cut it out of one single piece. And we set up our stock, and then we take the G code, which is again the code that talks to this machine here. We cut it out, and it's all magic from there. Now these 2 parts took about 30 minutes to cut out. Now we're going to move on to the bench top. I'm not going to show you the design process. You want to get it square with your table. Now this is one of the most important parts of every operation, is getting it secured down to your bench top. I'm going to show you in the next video what happens when you don't get it secure. I thought that having the 2 clamps on the back and the one in the front would be okay, but I guess not. This is sped up, so what I didn't see was the actual movement that was going on until it was too late. Wait for it. Now this is bad because not only does it ruin your part, it could also break your bit. And that's, you know, $35 down the drain, but it's also dangerous because it's not good to have a piece of metal flying across a room like a bullet. Now this is touching off my tool. It's when you establish where the home position of your workpiece is. This establishes how thick your actual workpiece is and where the corner is. These are bench dog holes. This is what we're using to stick clamps up through. It's also used for bench dogs, which I will actually demonstrate in the next video. These are 1-inch circles, 1-inch holes. In hindsight, I should have used 3/4 because there are no 1-inch bench dogs. So I had to make my own out of dowels. Again, I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. We're just going to cut out the dimension of our bench top. This is a material called malamite. It's some kind of hard plasticky surface on particle board. It's really good for bench tops because it's very hard and it's easy to clean and it's flat. But it cuts out, it likes to chip when you cut it, so it's kind of hard to make a really nice edge. So if I were to take a circular saw, I would just tear it up. But the router on the CNC machine makes it look a little better. Now I thought I'd have enough time to get through the rest of this project in this second episode, but I think we're getting a little long, so come back for the next episode when we finish up the build and go through all the features of this vacuum cart. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you want to see the rest of this project, go ahead and hit subscribe. And if you want to see my future builds, go ahead and ring the bell. Did you know I have an Etsy store? It's primarily graphics for people who make things like t-shirts, but you can also find things like designs for mandalas. Link in the description.